Snipers, you have to see what's happening to the Bitcoin price this Mondays. I just ordered lunch and got this notification from a very trusted analyst on Twitter of a 4-hour bullish MACD crossover for Bitcoin. And with Bitcoin right now, as we speak, testing 38,000, it just actually dipped below it. I had to get this emergency update out to you, Snipers. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm if you support these urgent updates. But we have a lot to talk about today. Traditional markets opened up. Gold and oil broke into new yearly highs. The DXY right now is approaching a major resistance level. When the DXY gets rejected, that's most likely going to be the bottom for Bitcoin. And Bitcoin dominance right now, potentially in a bearish descending triangle pattern, that's also extremely bullish, because if Bitcoin dominance comes down, typically Bitcoin price comes up. We have a lot to talk about today, but what most people aren't talking about is the fact that Japan, China, and the Euro 100 gapped down very strong. Huge amounts of downside to open up the week. That's a big puzzle piece, because the S&P 500 and Bitcoin are the only two major assets right now that we monitor here on the Snipers channel as a 4-dimensional revolving part that has yet to break its recent consolidation lows. So we have a lot to talk about today. Of course, right now, I had to get this video update out to you guys. With Bitcoin's candle low below 38,000 US dollars, we are currently inside of an ascending triangle. If we were to just look at this line chart, which factors in the closes for Bitcoin, as you guys know, we have this ascending support level for Bitcoin right now that we are really testing. And you can see it's being tested right now as we speak. And this typically is a bullish pattern, but for those that have been tuned to the Snipers channel, you know the fundamentals also matter. They're just as important as the technicals. And so we could sit here and talk about all these narratives in the news, like Ukraine and Russia and inflation, and factor that into what we're seeing right now with Bitcoin. We know as well, not only are we testing this extremely important support level as we speak, that if we break below this level with hourly and 4-hour candle confirmations, maybe by the time I post this video, we break through, or hopefully we hold it, the downside target based on the schematics of this ascending triangle would take us into this new range with a support of 25,880 and a resistance of 34,788. Right now, we have to realize that we have 3 major support levels for Bitcoin just below current price. Not just 38,000, but 36,500 and 34,788. 34,788 being the major support level. So we have to address what the potential scenarios could be right now for Bitcoin, because just based on the schematics of this ascending triangle, if we were to break down, we are looking at about 30,000 US dollars for a test of this level. So number one, the best case scenario right now is, because we're seeing weakness in traditional markets, of course, Bitcoin still being a stronger asset, but if we do see downside, if we cannot hold 34,788, that's going to be the first sign that we're potentially going to be seeing a test of 30,000, maybe just below that level, maybe even the $28,880 level where we bottomed out in June of 2021 to form a double bottom. But right now, we just have to realize how important 38,000 is. As you guys saw with our video yesterday on the title, 38,000 is no joke. That's how we bounced at 38,000, but now we're testing 38,000. So yeah, we have a 4-hour bullish MACD crossover. But what's more important is, what are we going to be monitoring this week? Tomorrow's turnaround Tuesday. And so what if the S&P 500 actually sees upside tomorrow and that fuels Bitcoin to move further up? Well, the question is, in the next 24 hours, is Bitcoin going to breach 38,000 with hourly and 4-hour decisive candles? That's number one that we have to watch right now, because we're certainly testing 38,000. The second thing that we have to watch is the DXY. It is currently inversely correlated to Bitcoin on the micro time frames. You can see here with the DXY in a bearish pattern, and that's not a surprise, because if we go into the DXY chart, notice how we are testing this extremely important resistance at 99.123, where in the past we have certainly seen the DXY reject this level. And anytime we see the DXY see downside, that's typically the time assets like cryptocurrency market and Bitcoin start to see upside. So we know here back in 2020, as soon as the DXY got rejected, that was the start of this bull market. And so we're looking for where this next rejection is. We haven't got a confirmation of a rejection yet. A break above this level would not be a good sign for the crypto market, but we are potentially going to be able to make the case now that the DXY has yet to test this major resistance as a support. And typically you will come and test a major resistance that gets broken as support. And so could we say that maybe into the next few days, we are going to be seeing a slowdown with the DXY to come and test 98 as a support? And if that's the case, that means that DXY sees a little bit of downsides and sideways price action. We also don't mind the DXY being calm. That's also in the past been a very bullish thing for Bitcoin. And so could Bitcoin have the case that we're either approaching a bottom or we have hit a bottom? I think that it's still certainly on the table, but we need to address the fact that the revolving parts outside of Bitcoin, like Japan, for example, gapping down, these are not good puzzle pieces. You can see we're forming new yearly lows for Japan, China, and the Euro 100. The S&P 500 is the only market that has yet to breach these recent consolidation lows. And here's what I'll tell you, snipers. The last thing we need to monitor coming into this week is the S&P 500 going to breach these recent consolidation lows? If we breach these recent consolidation lows, then that also puts the case of Bitcoin moving into a lower range on the table, and then 25,880 and 34,788 potentially can become the range that Bitcoin starts to move to the side, as we've certainly been seeing a lot of range-bound sideways price action over the last few days. And so Bitcoin is still stronger than most of these markets right now, but we can't control the outside environment. And so if the DXY continues to push up, the S&P 500 pushes down, breaks the recent consolidation lows, that's out of our control. It would make sense for Bitcoin to at least come down to a lower range. But because we've at least held 38,000 so many times, I know we're testing it right now, we know Bitcoin is the stronger asset, but more importantly, if you watched our monthly candle analysis, Bitcoin has been clearly the stronger asset, with the February monthly candle low not breaching the January candle low, despite the S&P 500 breaching its January candle low. And so that tells us that over the next few weeks into the next few months, Bitcoin will most likely be stronger than the S&P 500. And that's not a surprise with the other fundamentals that are currently in the market. I do want to quickly mention here on-chain exchange flow, not much to talk about today. We just have Bitcoin, Ethereum, and USDT leaving exchanges. And so we want to see USDT come onto exchanges soon. But I think that we're seeing a lot of fear. I think that the international markets really started to push down, and maybe a lot of that capital flowed into gold, for example, because gold did push above 2,000. And that it's now approaching a potential area of getting into price discovery. And so if we break 2,100, that's pretty much where the previous all-time high is, right around 2077, I believe, then that pushes gold into new territory where it could see price discovery. And so there's certainly a lot to talk about today, but round up what we really need to monitor right now. I'm not going to cover altcoins, but altcoins right now are certainly showing some weakness. And I say that because the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, the leading indicator, testing a major support, while the altcoins outside of Ethereum testing the resistance of the support that it recently broke, but it's yet to see a confirmation back above that. And so there's certainly weakness here, but that could change with Bitcoin dominance approaching this major level. So right now we have to keep this scenario in mind, and we also need to keep in mind that 34,788 could still potentially be an area where we form a higher low to see continuation to the upside, just because we know Bitcoin has been stronger. I think that as long as S&P 500 doesn't breach its recent consolidation lows, that there's a chance that Bitcoin holds 34,788 before seeing continuation to the upside. But if we do see the S&P 500 breach its recent consolidation lows, I think that this scenario is more likely to happen before we see any more price action back to the upside. And then the last thing I will say is this: if we want to assume upside targets for the bulls, we have to get above 38,000. But more importantly, the problem that we have right now is that the last 3 daily candles have been completely detached away from this 50-day moving average, indicating that it could potentially bring price down into a free fall at any point until we can get a confirmation of price action, even a wick into 40,200, where the 50-day moving average is currently sitting. We cannot assume bullish price action just yet for Bitcoin. And so that's been an area that we've been monitoring here, and that could make this ascending triangle play out to the upside if we can at least first get confirmations at 40,200. So the way I'm going to play this with you, snipers, is the best cryptocurrency technical analysis on the internet. I'm going to get a video out if Bitcoin gets to 40,200, because there's certainly a chance it does. If Bitcoin comes down to 34,788 and tests that level, or if it sees an all-out capitulation below 34,788, I will get a video out. But right now, we need to understand that there is still a lot of support for Bitcoin at 36,500 and 34,788, and that maybe, just maybe, Bitcoin is going to hold these levels. But if the S&P 500 does breach its recent consolidation lows, we still have a couple hours left before those markets close, then the likelihood Bitcoin is going to hold 34,788 is quite low, and that it might be necessary for Bitcoin to test lower prices. Now, here's a little bit of a roundup and a consolidated version of what we need to monitor this week and what we're going to be monitoring here on the Snipers channel. Subscribe to the channel if you've yet to do so, youtube.com/snipers. Number one, I think the most important is watching when the DXY is going to hit resistance. As we finally can get a confirmation that DXY is slowing down and becoming more calm, we can be less fearful of a all-out capitulation scenario. And so we need to monitor the strength of the US dollar. It's a big reason why Bitcoin and the S&P 500 are faltering right now. Secondly, is gold going to enter price discovery here very soon? If it does, that's going to be extremely macro focused on the fact that institutions are now starting to be fearful in the equity markets. And so if gold breaks into price discovery, and it looks like it's just inevitable, there's just going to be a date with destiny there, but is it going to happen in the next week, in the next month? I think that it's certainly approaching a major level. It already broke above 2,000. And so when that happens, that's going to be a huge puzzle piece. And then we'll start monitoring the gold to Bitcoin chart. I already checked it, not much to talk about there. And then third thing, Bitcoin dominance. Is it going to see a continuation to the downside and continue its bearish trend? Or will it invalidate the bearish pattern and break through and see upside? Bitcoin dominance comes down. That's a very strong confirmation that Bitcoin can see higher prices and that altcoin season can continue. But Bitcoin dominance continues to move beyond 44%. That would certainly not be a good puzzle piece. And then lastly, what we need to monitor is the S&P 500, of course. If it breaches its recent consolidation lows, the likelihood that Bitcoin could also breach the $34,788 level, which has been the recent consolidation support, is highly likely. And so with the S&P 500 testing a major level, it's down today. Tomorrow's turnaround Tuesday. Who knows what could happen? I mean, especially with Japan and China and Euro 100 really capitulating to open the week, we could assume some positive price action over the next few days. I mean, it's really being beaten down right now. And so I think that right now we really need a green day in the traditional markets to give Bitcoin some fuel. I think that's a very important aspect of the four-dimensional revolving parts right now. And with that being said, thank you all for tuning into the Snipers channel today. We do have that 4-hour bullish MACD crossover, but remember here, if you've been a part of our channel for the last 5 years, I've always said this to you guys. I never use indicators as confirmation. I use price action, market structure, and the overall trend. Indicators like the RSI, the MACD, these are all just secondary tools to use, but I don't factor them into my primary analysis. And so I don't think they have as much weight to them. We can talk about hundreds of different indicators. There's so many out there, but a lot of times we'll see institutional manipulation on these indicators to clear out longs and shorts and just really take advantage of the margin trader. So with that being said, thank you all for tuning to the Snipers channel today. I appreciate each and every one of you tuned into the channel. You're the reason I wake up with a smile on my face. I don't know why my food is taking so long, but I was hoping that I could at least finish this video up with the food on the table. But I'm gonna wait here and enjoy this Monday. If you support this content, smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, of course, and I'll see you guys next time. Snipers.